Okay, Picky Redhead here, and I'm going to show you how I make breast milk soap. We're working with lye today, so safety first. Make sure there's no kids in the kitchen. And put on our gloves and our safety goggles, or safety glasses. My recipe calls for 475 grams of olive oil. This is organic olive oil, 500 milliliters. Milliliters do not equal grams. You need to use a kitchen scale and actually weigh out the grams. So we'll set that to 0. One bottle of olive oil, 500 milliliters, should equal about 475 grams of oil. I've done this before just by measuring without weighing my oils, and my soap didn't turn out. It was very brittle because it was lye heavy. And you don't want that. You can't use lye heavy soap on baby skin or adult skin. I'm using mainly olive oil. This equaled 447 grams. So it equaled 448 grams. There we go. 448 grams out of a 500 milliliter thing of olive oil, which means I need to adjust my calculations in my lye calculator. Okay, so I just recalculated my lye calculator. I used thesage.com for my calculations, and I changed my recipe from 475 grams to 448 grams because that's what I ended up getting out of my bottle of olive oil, and it did change my how much lye I need to use. So I'm glad I double checked. I'm going to put the olive oil in here. I have my coconut oil that I'm going to put on the stove on low and melt. And while that's melting, I will get my lye measured out. What did I do with my rubber glove? And I need 49 to 80 grams of lye. Oh, sorry, 79 to 80 grams of lye. That's 70, 77, 78, 79. Okay, put the lye away. Now for liquid, I need approximately 147 milliliters to 220 milliliters. I have expressed breast milk here that I pumped last Valentine's Day, so I think that makes it kind of special for me. This is 120 milliliters according to my measurements. I have one last bag left. It's just a little bit of breast milk in it, and I'll go ahead and put that in there too. And then that'll be the last of my stash. I'm really glad that it's not going to waste. We will be moving soon. And so this is a nice way for me to take it along and use it for a long time. I'm here by a window, so I can open up the window so the lye doesn't stink. And now I slowly add the lye to the frozen breast milk. Don't add it all at once or it will scorch your milk. And then this just takes some patience. You just stir it around and the lye slowly melts. If you wanted to melt it faster, you could pre-melt your breast milk and put it in ice cubes. But I really don't mind doing this for a few minutes. It's kind of nice. Don't forget about your oil on the oven. Coconut oil should be about melted. I'll go ahead and take a minute to look at that. Add some more lye. Keep mixing it around. It melts pretty fast. It's nice to see the different colors of my breast milk. This one's kind of watery. This one's really thick and creamy. Making sure I have all the lye crystals on the side of the bowl in the liquid so that they can dissolve. Oh, it's looking nice. I have my melted coconut oil, 120 grams. And in a minute I'm going to add that to my olive oil and also add a little bit of sweet almond oil. I used sweet almond oil on my belly while I was pregnant and I didn't get any stretch marks. It's a little expensive, and if you want to leave it out of the recipe, that's fine too. Just make sure you recalculate using a lye calculator if you don't include it, so that you know how much lye you'll need, because it will change. Almost there. Always add lye to liquid, never liquid to lye. It's a big warning you'll see pop up often in soap making. Just add the rest of it. Make sure we get out every last bit of it. While that last little bit dissolves, I'm going to add my 20 grams of almond oil. A little bit more. 20. And 120 coconut oil. I have here a stick blender. That's all dissolved. Make sure we get out all this coconut oil. So we get exactly 120 grams. There it is. Stir my oils a little bit. Let me plug this in the other way. And then we're going to add our lye. Make sure we get out every last bit of it. Do you need lye to make soap? Yes, you do. You need lye and you need fat. Originally, the pioneers would use lye from hardwood ash and leftover cooking fat, put that in their pan to make their soaps. And then we gotta mix this bad boy up. I still have my safety glasses on and my gloves. And I gotta be careful not to splatter any oil or lye. all the oil or all the oil off the top. And don't worry about bubbles. This needs to get a little bit thicker, but instead of stirring it the whole time, I'm just going to let it sit for a couple of minutes and then come back and stir it some more so that I save electricity and don't burn out my stir stick. So I just used a minute to clean up my area a little bit. And we'll give it a stir for a little longer. Oh, this is going to be so nice. It's mostly olive oil, so it takes a little bit of time to thicken up. You want it to be a light trace, which means when it drips, it leaves lines. And it doesn't yet, but it will soon. I'm just going to let it sit for another minute and we'll come back to it. Needs another minute or two. You'll see. Olive oil's, takes its time. So we'll let it. All right, I think it's starting to thicken up a bit, like pudding. Almost there. Oh yeah, I don't know if you can see how it kind of dimples. Has this thicker consistency to it. It runs off differently. Now is the time, if you wanted to add essential oils, you could. I use about 8 to 10 drops of lavender oil, no more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, So it's about a drop per bar. That's really enough for little people's skin. Awesome. And when the soap comes out, it's not going to smell good. It needs to cure like cheese or meat for a long time. Olive oil soaps need about 6 weeks. It'll be safe to use probably around 3 weeks or so. But it'll smell more like lye than lavender for a long time. So when you first cut your soap and it doesn't smell good, don't worry. It's not because you didn't add enough essential oil, it's because the lye still needs to cure. I use a chip can as a mold. Just pour this right in here. And with the measurements that we used today, it makes almost a complete can's worth. Turned out fantastic. Scrape out all this soap. Now there's 2 different things you can do for coloring. If you want an ivory colored soap, you need to stick this bad boy in the freezer right away. Keep it there overnight and then let it sit at room temperature or a cool temperature for another 24 hours before you peel the can off. If you want a more golden color, which is what we're going to do this time, because the last batch I made, I froze and it came out lovely. I'd like to see the difference. We're going to let the soap go through gel phase. Which means we're gonna wrap a blanket around it, tuck it in for the night, and that lye is going to heat up and turn our soap a beautiful golden color. And I'll show you what it looks like in 24 hours.